Hi, and welcome to Tech News. Today we have the spiciest of news for you, and we also have a cast of guests that will explain to you one of the main conflicts in the sea right now, the Chinese South Sea conflict. But first, we encourage you to learn about the conflicts in the world, because the conflicts in the world are the conflicts and that affect all of us. Now, let's go right to the news. So, the conflict right now in the South China Sea is one of tension. As far as we know, it's one of the main territorial conflicts right now, and it consists on China, that is one of the main countries in Asia, that is claiming over seas that aren't actually theirs. Seas of countries such as Vietnam and the Philippines are being claimed by this country, and we know that China isn't showing signs of stopping anytime soon. But for more insight on the subject, we have the expert on international waters, Mr. Guajardo. Right to you, Abraham.
Thank you, David. So we are currently experiencing a tense situation in the sea. As you said, China has been claiming over territories that aren't actually theirs. This mainly because of two things: the high amount of crude oil present in the area and the control over the main trading routes in Asia.
Okay, thanks, Abraham, but what can you tell us about the trading routes and the oil mainly?
About the oil, it is well known that there is around 11 million tons of crude oil in the sea. And about the trading routes, as we know, China is the main traders and producers in the current market. In fact, it is estimated that China made around $5.2 trillion in trade that was made entirely on the South China Sea. But leaving China aside a moment, the total amount of the trade is made by the South China Sea represents around a third of the total trading that is made internationally. And with this current situation, only does it give China an unfair control over the maritime trading routes, but it also puts China in a military advantage over the sea, taking plenty of the islands on this area and the military bases.
Alright, Abraham, but has something been made to solve this problem? Like, you're mentioning a lot of problems right now, but has measurement been taken?
They are, David. And there have been some solutions proposed by the Asian, but I think that our expert in Chinese relationships might have the details of these proposed solutions.
Okay, thanks, Abraham, for the insight on the problem.
Thanks for having me.
Okay, so for our second guest, we'll go to the Chinese expert Facundo Vecci. He will tell us more about the measurements that have been taken. To you, Facundo.
Thanks, David. Here in China, as we know, the country has stood on the word that they won't let go of the territories that they have taken from other countries. Currently, there have been different tries, from Association of Southeast Asian Nations to get China to stop claiming over the parts of the Southwest China Sea. The main call made to China to discuss over the territories was made on 2013. The call was made by the Philippines, and it was supposed to be made over supervision of the International Tribunal for the Law of the Sea. But even when the debate was ready to be held, China refused to participate. That was the main try to get China to negotiate. And in regards to other countries, the US has tried to see how the Chinese are on the matter by sending ships and operations to the sea, all of which have ended with China telling the US to retreat.
Okay, Facundo, but you're mentioning a lot Asian mainly. What can you tell us more about this organization, this association? What is the main way this operates in the conflict?
Well, the Asian Association is the main actor in the conflict other than China itself. They are the most likely to stop China from expanding the territory and the rate that they are. Part of this association are Vietnam, Philippines, Thailand, Singapore, Myanmar, Malaysia, Indonesia, among others. In fact, a big part of the United States' participation in the conflict has been under the supervision of Asia, going as far as the US asking the association to prohibit China from constructing and developing on the sea. Of course, these tries have not been successful.
Thanks, Facundo.
Thanks for having me, David.
So now for our third and last guest, we'll go with Mr. Mucio Rodríguez, who is an expert in the human laws in the conflict. He has been studying this conflict since its beginning, and he will tell us about the part of the measurements and part of how it's developed during the years. So tell us, Mr. Rodríguez, what can you tell us about the other issues that have been coming out of this conflict?
Well, this conflict isn't really actual. There are recurrent attacks from China to the invaders in which they call their territory. Actually, in between 70s and the 80s, there were two violent confrontations between China and Vietnam over the islands. In both confrontations, we found like 130 Vietnam soldiers dead.
Okay, and how has the situation in Vietnam evolved to the recent days? So you're mentioning a lot of conflict regarding this country, but what can we see of this right now or recently?
Actually, yeah. In 2012 and 2011, there were a series of protests that we should mention that they were totally peaceful in Vietnam, the purpose of which were to express the disapproval of the Vietnamese against China taking over most of the South China Sea.
And after all of this, has the US done anything significant in the conflict? Because we know that it's one of the main actors currently in the world, but we haven't heard a lot of it in the current conflict, in this Chinese conflict. What can you tell us?
Well, actually, on August of this year, the US sent a naval destroyer to the South China Sea. China did respond to this. As the destroyer was doing its business, the Chinese sent several warnings to it, claiming that it had violated their international law. While this didn't conclude in violence action being taken, it certainly tells us the position of China.
Okay, Mucio, thanks for informing us on the matter. Till next time.
Thanks for having me.
So there you have it. That is our insight on the current conflict in the South China Sea regarding all of those Asian nations in China and also the US. So we encourage you to learn more on this conflict now that you have an insight, because the conflicts in the world affect us all. So, regardless to say, thanks to our guests, and we'll see you next time in Tech News. See you later.